Welcome back to NRA News. Cam and Company, sponsored by Nosler. Still to come on the program, Kurt Schlichter of Conservative Insurgency will be with us. At the Washington Free Beacon right now, the big headline is Feds to stop calling midget raisins midget.
That's right.
That's the big headline. It's not the big story. The big story, Stephen Gutowski of the Free Beacon has this big story. Stephen, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excellent. I appreciate you coming in the studio here. Now, we're going to talk about what's going on in Washington, D.C., the rising violent crime. But really, like 10 minutes ago, your story on the Social Security gun grab just came up. And the Social Security Administration is acknowledging, you right, that yes, in fact, they do plan to add some recipients, they say, to the NICS system.
Right. It seems that they aren't going to say how they're going to do that or how many people. They have said that they won't add all of the recipients who have a designated payee. In other words, someone who's handling their financials for them. They're not going to add all of those people to the background check system, but they are going to add some people. Now that they won't say who, but they have said they will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here. And they say Social Security Administration has not provided any names of beneficiaries to the NICS system and is not considering sending names based solely on the beneficiaries having representative payees. Instead, we are currently determining how we must comply with our NICS reporting obligations under federal law. Now, figuring out how to comply with NICS is not exactly what they're doing here, because they were tasked by the Obama administration, right? Obama said to these agencies, look for names that can be added. So they're actually going out and looking, who do we have in our system that we can add?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, after Sandy Hook, President Obama issued a number of executive orders. One of them was for federal agencies to comb through their records and try to find more records that should be added to the background check system. So essentially right now, Social Security doesn't add names to the background check system, and this letter indicates that they are going to.
Yeah, we are looking at possible implementation scenarios, the letter says. However, we are not exploring any option, they say, that would refer all SSA beneficiaries with representative payees to the NICS system. So some many.
Right.
We don't know how many. We don't know what the qualifications would be, right?
We don't know. The speculation was from the Los Angeles Times original report on this that it was going to be similar to what the Veterans Administration does, which is to add everyone who has a representative payee to the background check system, effectively making it illegal for them to purchase firearms. Now, apparently, Social Security is not going to go that far, but they are going to do something. They won't say what, but it's going to be something.
You talked with Jennifer Baker with NRA's Institute for Legislative Action. She says, we know that the VA department, again, is denying people their constitutional rights based on having a fiduciary, and that the Social Security Administration is developing a similar system to enter people into the NICS system. The SSA response does not adequately address our concerns and leaves the door open for abuse. She said the NRA will continue to employ all means available to prevent the implementation of such a widespread injustice. We do have legislation that is being offered here, right, that would simply change the language, I believe, of the Gun Control Act of 1968 to mandate that, no, we're talking about people who are adjudicated mentally defective, not people who are, let's say, I think the language that is in there is unable to manage their own affairs or something like that. That would remove that qualification and say, listen, we're talking about specifically people who have been adjudicated mentally defective. Those are people who are prohibited, but not somebody who, again, a veteran who has a fiduciary appointed to help handle their affairs while they're overseas or when they get back home. That is not just a marker that someone isn't qualified or competent to own a firearm. Neither is a representative payee from the Social Security Administration, when most of those are actually requested, Stephen, right? Something like 74% of representative payees are requested by the Social Security recipient, which would kind of indicate that they're in their right mind to make that request.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about trying to judge whether or not someone is capable of owning a firearm off of whether or not they have a representative pay, because a lot of times it can just be somebody who is managing your financials for you. You're not necessarily someone who's mentally ill or incapable of knowing the difference between right and wrong. something like that. Certainly not in all cases. In fact, there's several million people in the Social Security Administration logs that have a representative pay. So if they went this route, it would add literally millions of people to the background check system, and would believe the NRA called it the largest gun control move in history if they did that.
Yeah, I mean, 4.2 million Americans, according to the LA Times, would be subjected to that. And the LA Times report also noted that, the administration has asked other agencies to look at records that can be submitted. So this goes beyond the Social Security Administration and the Veterans Administration. These are the first two examples in the VA, perhaps the most egregious example of this. But we can expect, I think, more of this between now and the end of this administration.
No, absolutely. I mean, this executive order that the Social Security Administration cites is directed at all federal agencies. So literally all of them are supposed to be looking into ways to add more records to the background check system.